guest is Ray Friend. Ray is running for his third term as councilman, and we really appreciate him being here. It's for Hollister, of course, the city. Anyway, before we start, I want to again remind you that to get involved in your local politics, find out what's going on. Don't be somebody that one day if something happens, you say, you know, what the heck happened here? How did this happen? I didn't know anything about this. Well, you didn't know anything about it because you didn't get involved. So it's your own fault. So the only thing I can tell you is, you know, go to your city council meetings, go to your board of supervisors meetings, plug yourself in and find what's going on in your own community. Hey, join the grand jury. That's a great one to find out what's going on in your own. I spent 6 years on the grand jury. And I found out a lot about my town. A lot of it I wasn't very happy about, but you find out a lot about your town. Anyway, Ray, thank you for coming in. Yeah, I appreciate it. And Ray, tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Well, I born and raised in California, in the Sacramento area. Went in the Navy in 1965, got out in 1970, came back to California, went to work for Pacific Gas and Electric. After 43 years with Pacific Gas and Electric, I decided it's time to retire. I moved into Hollister in 1990 because of the job change, and just love it because we were looking for a small town that just fit everything. And to echo what you just said, I was on the grand jury. That's what introduced me into the fact that I wanted to get involved and make a change. And I was on the planning commission for about 12 years. And then they kept talking to me about running for the council, and I finally did. And you're absolutely right. If one of the most frustrating things about being on the council is there are 5 everyday people on the council that are trying to do a job, and sometimes we sit there making those decisions, and there'll be half a dozen people in the audience.
Correct.
If you ever want to see the city council change the way they're thinking or change how you think things are going to happen, put 30 people in the seats that are against something or have an opinion about something. The only time we get a full house usually is when there's something controversial that's going to happen in a neighborhood, and we get that neighborhood involved. They're involved until that meeting's over, and then you never see them.
Never see them again, yeah. I noticed when they were talking about we had discussions about the rally many times, and all the rally people were the ones that were against it and the ones that were for it. They all showed up at the meeting, right? And then after the decision was made, nobody comes back to the
Nobody
meeting.
comes back. Everybody wants to, they have their opinion, they voice their opinion, and then they depending on which way the vote goes or which way the council decides, you got half the room that's happy, half the room that's unhappy. Either way, they never come back to follow up.
That's right.
It's a shame because, and it's tough for people to take a Monday night and spend 2 to 3 hours down there listening to that stuff. But once you learn how it's going on and how it's going to be structured and how things are flowing, it really becomes interesting.
Sure.
One of the most frustrating parts of the first part of my tenure on the council was we had zero money. Just after I became a councilman, the bottom fell out of everything.
Correct.
And there was just no money to do anything. In fact, we were contemplating huge amounts of cutbacks and layoffs. And it was just frustrating because we couldn't do anything. We have finally, through a lot of diligence by the council, paid off a lot of debt, got a little bit above, our heads a little bit above water on the finance, nowhere near where we want to be or need to be. But we finally got to a point where there's a little bit of money where we can start doing something that they may seem small to the community, but they mean a lot as a whole. The infrastructure, the parks, keeping the employees happy so that they run the city correctly. And I give all the credit to everything that goes on in the city. It's 99% of the value that's there is because of the employees. They've done an excellent job. They've worked with the council on our budget. They've helped us with the budget. The police officers, the firemen, all of them have taken cuts, taken hits, just to keep the city running, so, they've done a heck of a job. But now that that things are turning around and we've been holding the budget line, nobody's been getting any raises, nobody's been getting any large payoffs or anything like that. And that's because we've been trying to pay down the debts, the sins of the past that people were just going crazy
Yeah,
with.
there was a lot of people upset about that tax, that they put on, and then went to the general fund, and they hired people, and I understand all that happens. Let me ask you a question, exactly where are we at in our budget right now? Cause I don't know, I really don't know the unfunded liabilities we have, or, do we have a balanced budget?
Right now, we are exactly balanced on the budget. As long as Measure E is there, until the end of 2017, we're at a point where we're gonna be able to provide the city services that are necessary, and because we've paid off some of those unfunded balances, we're gonna be able to start doing some of those infrastructure things, like the streets. We're currently waiting to do the repaving on San Benito Street, the restriping. We have a consultant now that's doing a survey of every street in the city, every mile of pavement in the city, and telling us exactly what order we need to go in and how do we do it. That's the only way we're gonna know what kind of money we're talking about.
Right.
It's easy to say, well, it's gonna take $15 million to redo all the streets. Well, that may be true, but it may be, we only need to spend a little bit to get us to that point. To where in 5 or 6 years, we don't have to do that.
Well, I don't know, a lot of people understand, some people don't, that used to be state property, or the state was responsible for San Benito Street, and now it's the city's responsibility.
Right.
And at one time, the state was supposed to fix that street before they turned it over to the city, but they refused to do that. So, they're lacking funds too, of course. But, so yeah, it's a big responsibility, that street's a big responsibility, for the city to take care of, so I'm glad you guys are looking at that. Another question I wanted to ask you was, how,
And just that, when the Highway 25 bypass San Benito Street
sure,
swap was made, it's really not that Caltrans doesn't have any money. It's the money is going in other areas.
other areas, yeah.
As a small county, we're the last people in line.
Yep,
If we had a street downtown Ontario, California, that was as bad as San Benito
they'd
Street,
fix it,
it wouldn't last 3 months and they
Yeah.
would fix it.
yeah, they'd fix it.
We just fall way down on the line.
Well, we're a very small county population-wise, and, yeah, we don't get looked at.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing I'm gonna ask you, how are we doing with the rally?
Well, currently the status of the rally is, and it's been made public, that the promoter that signed the 3-year deal, decided at the end of 1 year, he didn't wanna make payment on all his debt, and just backed out, said, I don't want nothing to do with the rally. Kinda left us hanging. The council decided they wanted to send out an RFP on the rally. We got back one, which I think is a fair deal, that another promoter wants to try and do it. Hopefully, in the last 3 years since I've been involved in the rally, we've learned a lot. We know what we can live with and what we can't live with, and the proposal we got back, because we know how to write the RFP now, has met just about all the standards. So if I was a betting person, I would say that there will be a rally. It may not be the scale of what we've had, and maybe it's time to back up a little bit before we jump into the pool. But I'm real excited that if we get it this year, we'll be able to have one, which will be the 70th anniversary in 2017. If we don't have a rally this year, I don't think it's gonna be possible to bring it
Yeah.
back.
Well, I've never been a fan of the rally, because I felt it was unsafe, an unsafe atmosphere for the people. But I've always said if it was revenue rich and safe, you know, I'm okay with it. The problem is, I don't know if we've ever made, I don't think we've ever really made any money on the rally. We've lost money. The t-shirt fiasco was a huge loss. So, but I think that as a city, this is my own personal opinion, that we could come up with something that's as good as the rally. I don't know if it's the car shows or whatever it is. It might be
A part of the problem, and I don't disagree with your idea there, one part of the problem that I think is the car shows, the rodeo shows, the air shows, they're all established already.
right.
We would be the new guy trying to build one, and it would be difficult. We
Yeah.
already have an established event that's been around since 1947, and I think we need to take advantage of it. I'm not saying we shouldn't expand on the things we're doing. We have the new Olive Festival that comes up. It was a great success. It was only one day. We'd like to see it grow to 3 days.
Sure.
Would be great. We have to find a different location than the fairgrounds, which we're working on to do that. And there's a lot of things. The street festival is an excellent idea, and it may grow to be something as big as Hot August Nights.
Yeah, that's, I'd
But
love to see that.
if you look at how those programs, and one of the people that's on the new RFP is the promoter for Hot August Nights. But there was a revenue availability up there because all the casinos wanted those people
Sure,
up there.
absolutely.
So we have to do our homework to get people to wanna come to Hollister, maybe for other reasons than just the rally. And we really don't have a handle on how many people come to Hollister for the rally and come back because they like what they've seen.
Right.
We don't know that. We're hoping the Pinnacles is gonna help with some of that.
Yeah, there's probably nowhere to even gauge that.
Yes, and that's difficult to do. So when you say it's not making money, if you just go by the physical dollars, we didn't lose any money.
Right.
We made a little bit. But the intangibles are how many people come back because they like what they see in Hollister.
Yeah,
If there was more to do in Hollister, maybe they'd come back
maybe they
more
would,
often.
yeah.
That's another thing the mayor and I have been really strongly trying to get through the intergovernmental committee is we need to partner with the county, the school districts, and a few other of the nonprofits to start looking at, maybe there's some ideas out there that we could bring people into Hollister other than the rally.
Yeah.
Maybe a sports complex or something like that to where we could have
Well,
25 or 30 tournaments.
I was talking to some people in Monterey that are actually looking at Hollister right now as a sports complex.
Mhm, mhm.
Matter of
There are
fact,
some
they had
groups
me
out there.
inquire with, Rosales to see if that lot next door, that he owned that lot. At that point, they were thinking we could buy Rosales and then expand it to tennis courts or handball courts or something else in there. So, I know they're
If you
looking,
look-
I know the people that are looking at it.
If you look at what's happening with the swimming pool at the high school,
Mm.
not only is that being built by the high school, but there's another group involved in that, and that's the swimming community. And they're gonna be building a tournament-sized pool that will bring in 6 or 7 swimming tournaments.
There you go.
And if you just look at the swimming tournaments of, say, 300 kids, that's 1,200 people that come with those 300 kids.
Sure.
They gotta have someplace to stay. Why would they go to Gilroy, Monterey? We need to build
Yeah, well, we got a new
hotels.
hotel going in.
And the part of the attraction for new hotels would be if we had the complex that would fill the hotel, they're willing. It's a tough way to balance it,
Yeah.
but, we've gotta make the steps to start the process. If they start the process, it'll work.
It takes a big chance to put a hotel in a place like, Hollister, because I think they need about 80% occupancy to
Yeah.
make any money, and that's tough.
It is
You know,
tough.
That's tough.
You know, but the only couple of hotels that are in town are full all the time.
Yeah,
It may not be tourists, it's construction workers, stuff like that fill them. But the one that's being built now, the 83 rooms, they don't think they're gonna have any trouble filling those.
that's good.
I wanna see 3 or 4 more of those
Right.
to be filled. But we have to have a plan that proves to the people that do the paperwork on that we're gonna have enough people in town to do it.
Well, we have, you know, I mean, we have to be aggressive, they've had a lot of things that were that were gonna come to Monterey. I mean, Del Webb was gonna come here, and I hear now they're looking again at it, which after that was voted down here, I actually went to Nevada and talked to the Del Webb people up there, and at that point, they said, we're never gonna build in Del Webb.
Well, they are gonna build it.
Yeah, that's what I hear now.
San Juan Oaks.
San Juan Oaks, which is great. A Del Webb community, and I don't know if you're aware of this, but I remember Lincoln when Lincoln was a damn speed trap going through there.
I was born and raised in Lincoln.
You were?
Yes.
Yeah, you said you were born and raised in Sacramento.
Well, Sacramento area.
Yeah, I was raised in Slough House, you know where Slough
Oh,
House is.
okay, yeah.
Went to Elk Grove High, graduated out of Elk Grove High.
Hop growers.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Corn now they got corn out there. But, I think that the city can flourish if we get aggressive. There's a group of people, especially in San Juan Bautista, and some of them in Hollister, that do not want growth.
Yep.
They say they want planned growth, but they really mean no growth. No
That's
growth.
a fact.
So until we get rid of that mentality, and I don't want urban sprawl, don't get me wrong, but if you don't have growth in a community, the community's gonna die.
It's gotta be sustainable, and it's not gonna be if you don't have something.
And if I was thinking about putting a business in Hollister, I mean, I probably wouldn't, just because I don't see the growth. Now, we're getting some help, we're getting more roofs, I see that we're getting more roofs, and if Del Webb actually comes in, I mean, it's great. They don't travel to work as much, because most of them are retired. They don't need police as much as, you know, everybody else. And they're a good community, and they're the greatest volunteer group in the world.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's one thing I'm excited about is Del Webb, and they shop locally.
Yeah.
They use local restaurants, and
You're gonna see the influx happen. Both San Juan and Hollister are gonna.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't think San Juan wants it.
No, they don't want anything. Are you kidding me? They don't want anything.
I mean, they fought the 15 new homes that they're building out behind the Mission.
I know.
So, and you know what? I agree with you, but I really wanna make sure that we don't lose the small town atmosphere.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I love Hollister. I mean, absolutely love it. I moved here in '03, and I moved into Ridgemark in '03, and I had a fight because my wife at the time, she wanted to be like 2 blocks from Macy's, so she was upset. But I really like Hollister. I like the people in Hollister.
Well, you know, when you see something like our Lights On Parade,
Perfect.
15,000 people from Hollister in town to do things like that, it just really makes you.
Listen, that's one thing people turn out is
Yeah.
a parade.
A parade.
In
will
Hollister.
bring them
I
in.
mean, you think you know a lot of people till you have a parade?
And then you see them 5 and 6 deep. on the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
Listen, Ray, we're gonna take a little. Welcome back to the right place. I'm again here with Ray Friend, and Ray, thanks again for coming in. And what I'd like to ask you is, what do you think that maybe like the 3 major things that the city should concentrate on in 16?
Well, obviously, community development is a huge one that sorely has not been happening because of budget issues. Some of those things are, like we talked about earlier, we have to attract people to the town. We have to be able to maintain the services that we have. The only way to do that is to have more people pay more taxes. I know that's a nasty word, but that's the reality of the world. You know, and it would be easy to say police and fire, but I want to tell you, for the number of policemen, the number of firemen we have, And now with our firemen taking over all the county duties also, actually the times are down. We have a less response time for emergency than any major city in the area.
What is the response time?
Our response time, the average is about 7 minutes.
That's very
And when you
good.
cover everything from Casa de Buda to the canyon,
Yeah.
and you add, now those calls aren't that few, but they get added into the total, and you still keep your times down to 7 or 8 minutes throughout the county. That's an amazing fact, and that's totally gotta be attributed to the chief and his work ethics and how he's passed it on down to.
Yeah, and the county's hired more people now, which is great. I mean, I live out in the county, I live out towards Casa de Fruta, across from,
And you're gonna get a benefit of the 4th fire station out there.
yes,
On Fairview, and that's gonna cut your response time down probably in half what it is now.
yeah, because at one time we had like 2 guys in the county at nighttime, 2 sheriffs.
Yeah, that's an
So,
alarming
and
situation.
that's a scary situation, and if they're on a call, you have a
And
problem.
especially, inevitably, they're in South County and they get called to Aromas.
That's exactly right.
North County and they get called down to the canyon, so. The police and fire they're doing an amazing job for the numbers that we have. We are increasing the number of police officers slowly. It's a money issue. We don't pay what they pay in San Jose, they don't pay what they pay in Fremont or the other bigger cities. So the guys gotta really love Hollister to stay there.
Right.
And we have a dedicated group. It's just amazing how much they turn out. So I would say the biggest thing is now, and I don't wanna talk about schools, cause I'm not part of the school district or anything, but we have to manage the growth, but we are gonna have to grow. And we're gonna have to come up with a way to attract people to Hollister.
Yeah, you're gonna need another high school or, you know, I mean, that high school situation and the school situation where half the high schools in the city, half the high schools in the county, you know, you got, what is the road that goes between?
Nash Road.
Nash Road, that we should close that thing, they talked about it. You know, when I was in the grand jury, that was consistently something that we tried to do. They do it in, Watsonville, you know, they closed that Lincoln Street, and I'm thinking we could do it and get away with it. They won't do it till somebody gets killed or something, then obviously somebody will make a decision. But we're gonna, and then we have a problem, I think we have 13 schools, in San Benito County, and 11 of them don't belong to the school district. They have their own school boards and their own superintendents and all that, and to me, it's just, it's not, doesn't work. And, I mean, I've talked to Munzer and that's his constituent, so for him to try to make a decision on that, it's crazy, but, so I think, the other thing with the schools, when we had the budget crisis, all the computer training centers were down, all the libraries were down. And I said, well, why don't we get some of these retired teachers or something that wanna volunteer to come in and help out? Well, you couldn't do that, cause then, the unions are gonna, you know. Myself personally, I said, let's do it and we'll fight the unions later. But, so all
Well,
those.
and that's another project that you're gonna hear about fairly quickly is a learning center, library, community center, that we need to do something with the library. And I think you're gonna see something that's gonna be jointly between the city, the county, the school district, the high school districts. I'd like to think Gavilan's gonna be involved in it, but I wouldn't bet on that. And you're gonna see a big push to get more of a library slash technology center slash entertainment center, multi-purpose thing that the whole community can take advantage of.
We need to get some of these very, very wealthy people like Rakovich, and Rakovich has already given lots of money, of course, to the hospital and the school, but to help us, we need a benefactor.
Yeah, yeah.
We need a benefactor.
But we've gotta be able to come up with a plan that convinces them we're serious about what we wanna
Absolutely.
do.
You know,
I think
I would
that's
like
where
to
we're
see a
working.
community swimming pool, I'd like to see all that stuff, keep the kids off the street, keep the gang people out of there. I was involved in an organization called Guitars Not Guns. I don't know if you're familiar with that. We used to donate a lot of money to that organization. All those organizations, we should look out to come to Hollister and to keep our kids involved in something.
And if you'll notice that when we allocated the nonprofits this year, most of the nonprofits that received any money were ones that were dedicated to bring in something for the kids. Whether it's school backpacks, or whether it's just time for them to have a study room somewhere.
Right.
We need to take care of that. We have to make sure those kids, one, are taken care of, and two, want to stay in Hollister. So we have to provide them with jobs that are sustainable.
That's
in
absolutely,
Hollister.
because once they get up and out of school, they need work, and if we don't have it, they're gone, and they're paying taxes someplace else. So, anyway, Ray, I tell you what, first of all, I want to thank you for your service to the city of Hollister, and I also want to thank you for your service to the federal government, being in the service, and I didn't know that you were from the same area I was from.
Oh, yeah, that's, until I went into service, actually, my parents moved to Fair Oaks, California.
Oh, yeah, I've absolutely lived in
And
Fairfield.
my grandparents lived in Ione,
Oh, yeah.
so that's how I know where Slough House is, but, yeah, it's, it's one of those things that, and you'll find the guys that help us the most, whether it's through the veterans groups or nonprofits, are the local people that have been born and raised here that don't wanna see it become
Yeah, a desert.
a desert.
I mean,
or
it
a
breaks my
sand
heart to drive downtown and see the empty buildings that could be flourishing,
And
and
one of the things with the restriping of San Benito Street, we're hoping that that's gonna generate more family-type businesses that wanna
I
be
hope so.
downtown.
I really
If we
do.
can make it safe for the people to walk around downtown, that's gonna help.
If they make it safe to walk around at night downtown and do a little bit of shopping, it'd be great. Anyway, thanks
All right,
again.
well, thank you very much.
Uh-huh.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're gonna be right back. God bless you, and pay attention to what's going on in your own community, please.